It was a 5-point deficit for the Mavericks, and then Tim Duncan has scored the last 6 points for San Antonio. Here is Terry. He's had the hot hand tonight. And Duncan getting the rebound with under 4 minutes remaining. 14 boards for Duncan. Here's Parker. Duncan playing a high post right now. Going inside. Butler doing a good job on Parker and stepping on the line. Or was it a timeout? It was a timeout called by Parker.
Yeah, they're taking a 20. I think Parker got himself in trouble over there. Butler, too big and physical, was draped all over him. He took the timeout rather than lose a possession.
Let's take a break, Mike. Question is, can the San Antonio Spurs hang on against a fierce rush by the Dallas Mavericks, Mike?
Well, they have 8 seconds now to get a good shot up at this possession with just over 3.5 minutes remaining. Tim Duncan has been the guy. They put the ball in his hands. He's produced last 2 big buckets for them.
So, as you pointed out before, different players have produced at different times. Richard Jefferson in the first half was major. Duncan down the stretch. He has scored 15 of his 23 points here in this second half, and a good fourth quarter as we've seen, and he hits another one, so he has hit 8 points in a row to open up a 13-point lead, 3.5 remaining.
Probably a good idea by the coach. Now let's give the ball to that guy Duncan. He seemed to make it happen.
And McDyess committing the foul. That's only the second team foul against San Antonio. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Nowitzki was the man of the hour in game 1, and you never know, still might be in game 2. He's got 20 points, and Tim Duncan has come on big in the fourth quarter for the Spurs. Here's Nowitzki hitting from outside, and it's an 11-point game. Dirk Nowitzki with 22. There's some pressure in the backcourt by Dallas.
Dallas wants to speed this thing up by forcing turnovers, get the Spurs to be aggressive, take it to the basket, hope to pick up charges, get strips or a couple block shots so they can get out in transition.
Ginobili and a turnover, and it's Jason Kidd to Nowitzki with the field goal, and there's that turnover, and that plagued the Spurs in the first quarter last game.
Turnover to score. That's exactly what Rick Carlisle was hoping for. San Antonio was trying to use up some clock, trying to execute, but you also have to stay on the attack mode, or the next thing you know, you won't be making any shots when you finally get a look at it.
And you can't get careless either. McDyess from outside. And here come the Mavericks down by 9 with 2:20 to go. So Dallas making yet another run. They cut a 20-point deficit to 5. Fell behind by 13. Here is Terry. And the crowd would have erupted if he had hit that one.
Well, we're getting the ball into the hands of the players that can make big shots for him. Terry obviously has had a terrific game for him. Nowitzki starting to heat up here.
Under 2 minutes remaining. Interesting in this kind of a feverish game that the Spurs have only 2 team fouls. And Manu Ginobili hits a big 3 for the Spurs. And you never see this kind of a reaction and emotion from Manu Ginobili, who hits his 4th 3-point basket of the game. And San Antonio is up by 12.
And Rick Carlisle jumps up quickly to stop it, talk this thing back over again. You know Ginobili has been shooting the ball well. You can't go underneath and give him all that time.
And disappointed and disgruntled Maverick fans leaving the American Airlines Center. Not what they had envisioned here after their impressive 100-94 victory in game number 1, dominating the Spurs. Tonight, a different story totally. And it started right at the opening tip, Mike, where the San Antonio Spurs turned their game around 180 degrees from game 1.
Yeah, in all aspects of what was wrong in the first game went right in the second game for the Spurs. They're shooting right around the 50% mark. They're holding Dallas to in that 37-38% area. They had minimized their turnovers for the entire game, only 9 at this point. They got to the free throw line early. Now they haven't made as many as they'd like, but all the things that they had to do.
And here's Terry going up, and the tip knocked away and is controlled by Duncan. Don't forget, Inside the NBA, presented by Hyundai, with EJ and Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, and Chris Webber coming your way right after this game. Always an entertaining show, and they'll wrap up tonight's doings in NBA playoffs. Under a minute and a half to go. We talked about the start of this game. Richard Jefferson misses outside, the three. A 9-0 start for San Antonio, and they never look back as the Mavericks never had the lead tonight.
Remember how we said last game some of Nowitzki's shots just had like the great bounce for him, even though they were off balance.
From every angle.
Yeah. You know what, tonight, a lot of the bounces of the ball went San Antonio's way tonight. Just happened to wind up just like that one, back in their hands. And those are, as Doug Collins always says, 50-50 balls. Who's going to get there first, your team or the other team? And those make such a huge difference.
16 offensive rebounds, and Jason Kidd called for the foul, and furious as he bounded the ball hard on the ground. Tim Duncan, 25 points and 16 rebounds, will go out of the game, and the San Antonio Spurs have split here in the American Airlines Center, winning on the road. Dirk Nowitzki, 24 points, but nothing like his game number one overall. And that happens in the NBA with the Stars, and we move on to the next game. But San Antonio now will have the home court edge when they move to San Antonio. This series will be all tied at 1. Under a minute remaining. Garrett Temple has come in. DeJuan Blair, Roger Mason Jr., Jefferson, and Bonner are in there now for San Antonio, and Bonner gets the lay-in.
Bonner borrowed that shot from Tony Parker. The little floater, he decided he wanted to try it himself.
And Blair getting the rebound. So the Spurs open up a 20-point lead, only to see the Mavericks, and it was defensive stops that got him back in the game, cut it down to 5, and then Tim Duncan scored 6 straight points. Actually, it was 8 straight points, and that was all she wrote in game 2.
That's why you call them franchise players, as Mason hoisted up there with the clock going off. Franchise guys, you got to give them the ball, and they will produce.
Rodney Vaughn, our producer, Howie Singer, our director, Marty Aronoff, our statistician. The final score, the Spurs 102 and the Mavericks 88. And the series is all even at 1 apiece. Duncan had 25 and 17. Manu Ginobili chipped in with 23. And Jason Terry had 27, leading the Mavericks coming off the bench. And right now, let's check in with Marty Snyder.
And just classic Tim Duncan, as you mentioned, 8 straight points at one point. I forgot how many storms you guys weathered tonight. But what changed for you offensively in the second half, Tim?
You know what? Nothing really. Just the opportunities were there at the time. We're running a lot of pick and rolls, and they got to pay attention to Manu. He's been shooting the ball well and scoring the ball. So I got into the creases and got some shots to go. You
and I had talked for a couple days about trying to get other guys involved in the offense. How big was Richard Jefferson tonight? A big first half for him.
He was the difference in the game. He was great in that first half. Very aggressive. We talked about throwing the ball up the court and let him get in the open court and get some stuff going. You see, he makes those easy shots. All of a sudden, his jump shots feel a little easier for him. So it's great for us.
The other big buzzword around you guys for a couple days has been team defense. How would you grade that tonight?
A lot better. A lot better. Obviously, we hoped Dirk wasn't going to shoot 10 for 12 again. We did a much better job on him. Made him move the ball and contest his shots. We're going to have to continue to do that, and knows he can come back strong the next time.
Congratulations, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Dick.
All right, thank you very much, Marty. And once again, the final score, 102-88, the Spurs over the Mavericks. So for Mike Fratello and Marty Snyder, I'm Dick Stockton saying good night from Dallas. Coming up next, it's the Emmy Award-winning Inside the NBA. You've been watching the NBA on TNT. And right now, let's send it to Ernie Johnson in Atlanta.